is a video for you guys to watch. You're also going to be completing the proper care and handling of a microscope document that will be in Google Classroom. 4 microscopes that you will be going through, even though I'm not in the room for you. So let's get started. Proper care and handling of the microscopes is extremely important when you're doing a lab and setting up and tearing down. You want to make sure that you know the parts of it. So we're going to go through the parts of these, the microscopes right now. They are not going to be in order of your sheet. I'm just basically going to go from the top of the microscope all the way down for that. So let's get started here. Starting at the top, what you look through. This is what helps you see the object on the slide that you're going to be looking at. This is what we call the ocular. Attached to the ocular is the body tube, or for this is the spacing between the eyepiece and what we're going to get to, which is the next part, which is this part right here, which is the nose piece. The nose piece holds what we call our objectives, and it also rotates. And you'll hear a click, and they'll sit in there pretty good when you rotate the objectives around. The objectives are the next thing. There are 3 of them. Some microscopes only have 2, but for the majority of what we're using, it's going to be 2. The smallest one here is the lowest power. Your field of view is very wide, so your objects aren't very magnified, so you're going to see a lot of stuff in your field of view. The next one, and by the way, the lowest one is usually colored red. The middle one, which is the kind of the medium size one, this magnifies a little bit more, so instead of a field of view of this, your field of view goes here and your objects are starting to look bigger. Look for the yellow color. Your last objective is the blue one, has the blue lines on it. This is the highest power that you're going to see, so your field of view gets really small, but your objects are really large. This one is the hardest one to focus and to find something if you move things in there. One thing with back to the ocular here, there is a pointer. So if you find an object on low power, medium power, then you want to make sure that you put that object at the end of the pointer. That way when you switch objectives, it makes it easier to find it. Below the objectives, the black part here is the stage. The silver objects you see here are the stage clips. This is what holds the slide in. The stage is what everything sits on. So that's why we call it a stage, because it's where you present the material. After that, underneath the stage, right here, you have the light source or the illuminator. This sends light up through the stage, through the lens that's in there, and it illuminates what you're looking at. So the light source is right here. Next to the light source and right behind the stage are 2 wheels. The biggest one here is what we call the coarse adjustment. The coarse adjustment is only used when you are on low power, because your stage moves the biggest. And we do not want to be doing that when we have the medium or the high power on. Sometimes with medium power, depending on how much distance you have, you could use the coarse, but mostly you won't want to use this only when you have high power on. So the next one below it is the smallest one. This is what we call our fine objective, or fine adjustment, excuse me. This moves your stage very, very slightly, but you only have to move it a little bit, and you're going to use that a majority of the time when you're on high power. So those are what you focus in on. We call those adjustments as you go. A couple other things is on the side of these microscopes, you have the power. So you flip this on or off to turn it on and off with the illumination. What I grabbed here is what we call the arm of the microscope. We'll talk more about that as we go. And then 2 last things, you have your base, which is what it sits on. And then you have your power cord, which is your power source. and you're going to plug this into the outlet that is right below the microscope. When you turn it on, you'll be able to see the light flash on, and then you know that it's ready to go, so you can start looking at stuff in regards to your microscope. So that's the parts of the microscope.